Hi, and this is the vlog number 1.6 for AP Seminar, recapping the sixth official week of school. So, this week, the main goal was for me to find two additional sources that build off of what I found last week. So last week, what I mainly found was how Irish immigration helped other immigrant groups in America to adapt and assimilate better. But this time, I wanted specific answers to the group I was doing on, which is how acculturation affected Irish immigration into the Americas during the mid 1800s. So what happened was, uh, while doing the research, I found out that there was a huge anti-Irish sentiment going on in America during that time, due to the Irish potato famine. Many middle class and lower class Irish families were forced to flee because their potatoes started rotting. There was no other replacement, and they had to they were kind of like vassal states, so they had to export a lot of their grain and potatoes, which were good, to England. So they were really desperate, in need of food, and a lot of people died of starvation even when they had free government soup kitchens. So ultimately, what happened was they had to flee to America with whatever remaining money they had, and most of them lived in groups, in like clumps together, and they would live in let's say one room, and then 20 people lived together with one bathroom. So it was really common for diseases to spread, and they're the ones who worked majority of the lower paying jobs. So businesses really took advantage of it, and they would hire Irish people, and they would pay them way below the minimum wage, and that's how things worked. And then as for the non-Irish sentiments, they had this kind of act going, no Irish need apply, where many jobs would straight out reject you if you were Irish, because at that time American culture perceived Irish as kind of pests and how they take up jobs, not like very similar to what many people think today. But the main thing that happened was, over time, that very group of Irish people, through their resilience, became the face of Americana. Right, during the 1960s, America elected its first Irish president, John Fitzgerald Kennedy. And the main thing about this research project that's affected me personally is to dig deeper. Because in the past, what's happened is, when we were given research projects, or even PowerPoints, let's say, a presentation, and when we're supposed to research, we just look at the surface level research, blah blah blah, whatever Google says, and then you just copy it down, cite your source, that's it. This is not the case. You obviously you find the surface level stuff, the information, and then what separates your research paper from others is how farther you dig deep. Because the deeper you dig, the more relevant information you find, and the more credible your research paper gets, so that when you're not biased, right? Because when you have information about, when you're researching about Irish immigration, let's say, right, you have the American perspective, the Irish perspective, and how that combined to form the identity it is today. So that's one of the things I'm really excited about while doing the project, is how it's making you a better researcher, right? Not just for a seminar, but for future classes in college and life and whatnot. And yes, that was the main goal of this week. And after I did find my two sources, I was able to piece out things out of it and put it into a document, so I can then ultimately draft the final research paper. And then when we come back Tuesday, I'm like super excited to read my peers' research papers, so that we can extract parts out of all of our papers, and then combine it into a presentation where we ultimately discuss a solution for the problem. And that's been majority of this week. And another good thing about the groups is that we're kind of in check. So let's say if one member is absent, which I was on Tuesday, I didn't have to even mention. My group members contacted me, asked how I was doing, and then they also caught me up with some important information you addressed to our group. Because originally we were going to do 4 to 5 lenses on a research paper, But then you mentioned that we need, like, for the scope of this project, it's good to stick to two lenses. So we stuck with the culture and social and political and historical lens. And that's the main focus that we're going to have in our research paper. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for week number 6. That was the 6th official week of school. To recap, 2 more weeks to go. And yeah, I'm really excited to read, as I mentioned, read my peers' research papers and ultimately come up with a good presentation to present. And yeah, that's pretty much it for week 6. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.